Hey chaps, how are you doing? Right, I've got the FTTP connection in this property, which is a fibre to the premises, and I've been promised 100 megabits per second downstream and 100 upstream. Okay, that's the contract with Vodafone, and that's the speed they promise. So I'm just going to show you a couple of things here. Right, I've got a router here which has got built-in Wi-Fi, and it's broadcasting the Wi-Fi signal. It's broadcasting two frequencies, 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz. Okay, that's not data, it's just a frequency. So I'm forcing my laptop to use 5 gigahertz, and automatically has given me a channel. Channel, I will explain it to you what that is. But frequency is just a wave in the air. So that's the 5 higher frequency I selected, and I force my machine to connect to the router. So once it's connected, I can see the link speed. The speed between my laptop and this router is a link speed 433 megabits per second, because that's the maximum capability my laptop has. It could be 1100 megabits per second, but my machine can't handle it. Right, so that's the link speed, but that's not the actual speed. So let me do the speed test. Okay, so downstream I'm getting 100 megabits per second. Downstream as in I'm receiving data from outside, and upstream is where I'm sending data out. That's 100 as well, 100 megabits per second, right? So, but the link speed my machine is showing between the laptop and the router is 433 megabits per second, but I'm not getting that speed because that's a local link. But the actual speed is coming from there, from outside, because that's the contract I have, 100 megabits per second, which I'm getting, so which is fine. So it doesn't matter what local speed I have between my machine and the router. It could be higher, it could be 1100 if I've got a good network card, but that's not the speed I'm getting from externally. So the actual external speed is 100 meg. Okay, now I'm upstairs, and look at this. My link speed between me and my router is going down. It's going up and down. Now, if I do the speed test, it has affected that as well. By the way, link speed is not the actual speed, and you normally get half of it. If link speed is showing 234, you're going to get really less, like I'm getting 36, 38 here. So link speed means nothing, it's just a link. But why am I getting low speed upstairs? What's going on? It's going down to 87 megabits per second, which means that my speed is going to be really, really bad. The actual speed when I do the internet. So it looks like my connection to the router is deteriorated and I've lost my link speed. Let me explain why. So I'm using 5 gigahertz frequency, which is the bottom one here, is showing it's a higher frequency. What it does, it's got higher data rate, right? But it doesn't give you coverage, if you like. It's more like a line of sight kind of connection. So you should be able to see the router, should be behind like a really thin wall, and you can get the signal. As in signal, I'm getting signal upstairs, but the link speed my machine keeps negotiating the link speed with the router, and it's keep going down because I'm kind of far, even though I'm not really far. Okay, so that's why 5 gigahertz is good if you're near the router, and it's nothing to do with the external speed, right? External speed is still 100 meg, but I can't reach my router at full speed, hence the reason my machine is showing like low speed. Right, so let me explain the other frequency we have, the top one, which is 2.4 gigahertz. Again, frequency is just like a wave in the air, okay? That is a lower frequency, but it gives you less data rate, but it gives you more coverage. And most of the devices, they're set to use frequency automatically. So if you fire automatically, it's going to use 2.4 if your router's pushing it out. Okay, so 2.4, I can reach far, but this is where it gets tricky. So the top one is 2.4. It has got just 11 channels, and only 3 of them has got no overlapping, if you like. Channel is like a lane on the motorway, okay, where the actual data is going to move, the communication is going to happen. So only 3 channel, 1, 6 and 11, they're not overlapping. But it has got overlapping channels as well, just like on the motorway. If I'm driving bang in the middle and covering 2 lanes, for me that's a channel as well. So this is how it works. So only 3 channels you can use, and for 5 gig you have got 24 channels. Okay, but it doesn't travel far. You have to be near the router. Mostly, I would say mainly line of sight, where you can see the router and your device can see it, and then you'll get good speed. Okay, so let me log into the router and see what's going on. This is my router. So if I go into Wi-Fi settings at the top, okay, so my router is broadcasting. You can disable it, but it is broadcasting both frequencies. So just in case if the device can't handle 5 gig, or if it's 5, it will automatically use 2.4, unless you force your device to use 5, which I did. Right, so both frequencies are being pushed out from the router, which is great. But there's another tool called Analyzer at the left. Hold on. That's just a frequency. Okay, Analyzer at the left, this one. So that's a built-in tool in this router given to us by Vodafone. Right, this router Analyzer is something, it's a tool. It can sense the air and it will tell you how many channels are being used nearby, which is great. So if I select 5 gig first, if you remember, I was using channel 64, and here it's showing nobody else is using channel 64, which is brilliant. That's why I was getting really good speed downstairs, but I was right next to the router, you see. But upstairs, because I'm far, it's not really helping. But if I select 2.4, and you might say, okay, just use 2.4, but this is the issue. Everybody nearby, like this router is showing the live data from nearby routers, neighbors, other devices in the house. For example, microwave is using the same frequency, Bluetooth uses the same frequency, and if you got like a toy car for kids, or the baby monitor uses 2.4 gig frequency as well. And it's the reason, look at that. And many of these devices using the same channel, like channel 1 for example. So then everybody's going to be fighting for the bandwidth, you see, because we're all going to compete with each other to get the channel. That's where it gets tricky and you get really, really bad speed, especially if you live in London and you got a block of flats and many people nearby, everybody's using Wi-Fi router, and it's gonna get really, really messy. So if I go to my machine and I say to my machine, okay, forget this 5 gig, I'm quite far, I'm upstairs, let's go into network properties, Wi-Fi settings and properties, and let me force my machine to use 2.4 instead. I could do auto, but let's do 4. So I am connected to 2.4, and it is using channel 1, which is being used by so many people nearby, and plus the speed, look at the speed, it's shit. And secondly, this router is shit, it doesn't let me choose the channel. It gives me the channel. It doesn't let me choose the channel myself.